Ugh, I groaned as I tried to pick myself up out of bed and listened to yet another round of Emily trying to take me on a suicide run. These things hardly ever worked out to my advantage, really. One of these days, her get-rich-quick schemes are going to get me killed. I thought to myself, getting up and brushing off a little bit of dust before throwing on my old leather jacket, one I had had for a very long time. So, Emily, what is it this time? What death-defying stunt are you looking to pull this time? Find a way to hustle another gang of lunatics? I said as Emily took her regular paces around, beginning to look around at my place and see if there was anything that, well, could be of use. Emily would regularly check to see if I had anything new, weapons, if I had made any upgrades to my bike, or things like that. Once again, she would be sadly disappointed that I didn't have anything, but it most definitely wouldn't stop her from looking. She eventually found her way over to, well, I suppose you could call it my passion project. A motorcycle that I've been building in my spare time, with whatever resources I could put into it, gathering the best of materials and whatnot so that I could assemble it. I based the entire thing off of an industrial-sized chainsaw chain that I scavenged from a nearby sawmill. Old and out of business, of course. But the chain was kept fairly in good condition, sealed away from the elements, so it didn't have any rust or decay on it. I had to file off a lot of the sharp bits, which was, trust me, a task. But eventually I got it to where I wanted it, and made it the base for the rest of the motorcycle. However, I was unfortunately missing, well, basically most of the rest of the motorcycle. At this point, all it was that chain, along with a basic frame, 2 wheels, and a few odds and ends that I had put together. I was basically missing everything else. Quality parts are hard to come by in this environment. They definitely come with a high price tag. They're not cheap. And machining them is, well, extraordinarily time-consuming. First you have to find and melt down quality metals, create molds and interlocking pieces. It's a complicated process. One that I have neither the time, money, or experience to do. Okay, Emily said. So, as for what I'm here for, I'm gonna need your help on something. This is quite possibly the biggest score I've come across. It's gonna have us rolling in tinder. Sure it will, I replied, questioning everything, of course. Emily, I just don't feel like it. I mean, it's only been about a week and a half since our last little excursion. And that one didn't go so well either, remember? Everything you do really tends to end in, well, bullets and blood. Thankfully, most of it hasn't been ours up to this point, but eventually our luck is going to run out, Emily. You can't keep hustling these gang members and expecting nothing to come of it. And quite frankly, I need a break from it all. Is that how you treat somebody who has done so many good things for you? Emily replied, snidely raising her eyebrow and putting her hands on her hips. Oh yeah, I replied. You've done so many great things for me. Like the time I broke my arm fighting off the Pearson twins. Oh, and then let's not forget the time I got shot in the ass. Yeah, that was just lovely. The permanent bullet mark on my backside complements my physique well, don't you think? Oh, don't be a big baby, Emily replied. Your injuries aside, we did make a killing on all those deals, remember? You probably wouldn't be as far as you are on this little project of yours if I hadn't been pulling these jobs in. Let's face it, without me, you'd be stuck at that automotive shop non-stop, with barely a penny to your name. You need me, Jax. You're the sturdy guy who beats stuff up, and I am the ever-beautiful, talented, and financially well-minded of the two of us. If it weren't for me, you'd never have any money to spend. And I always make sure that we get the best end of the bargain. High profit also often comes with high risk, Jax. I mean, I thought you'd be used to it by now. Really. Ugh, I sighed. However annoying she was about it, I can't help but admit that there are elements of truth to what she says. It always was good money. Dangerous money. Exceptionally dangerous. But always good. Money tended to be the foremost of Emily's attention and thoughts. When it came to her, if it didn't turn a profit, it didn't make sense doing. Money was basically her everything, and she could smell it in the air. Okay, so what's this job? And exactly how many people are going to be trying to kill me this time? I asked, taking a pace around and beginning to shuffle a few things in my house around. Or at least I call it my house. This old steel mill hardly works as an actual house, but as it's abandoned and there's plenty of room, I'm not going to complain about it. It's a roof over my head. The place was a bit of a mess, books all over the place. If it was anyone else, I probably would be panicking at the sheer number of books in here. Books, after all, are a valuable commodity in this day and age. A full-scale pre-war book sells for an exceptionally high price. But Emily already knew that I wasn't selling mine. And regardless of how profitable it might be, she wasn't going to take them or try to get me to sell on them. After all, she was there when we found them in the first place. And we had history with them. Okay, Jax. Well, if it helps your tender sensibilities, this time around, there's nothing to cut, no deals to be made, no shifty dealers, no crooked gangbangers to try to stab us in the back, at least not right now. It's clean, safe, and directly to the point. As of recent, I've been trying to track shipments coming outside of the walls of the great city. Their normal dumps are mostly garbage, and everybody knows where they come from and where they're going. There's some profit in tracking them, but nowhere near enough to really be worth it. So I've been on the lookout for strange drops. Haulers coming outside of the city from different places, at strange or awkward times, in uncommon haulers and things like that. And the day before yesterday, I hit pay dirt, Emily said, grinning in my direction. I spotted a hauler leaving late at night from a very unusual position in the walls. Thankfully, it was fairly secluded. I'm the only one who spotted it, the only one who was there to do it. I, of course, thought it was suspicious, so I tracked it all the way out to the red zone. Of course, where they usually dump everything. But, as I suspected, this dump was special. It was a military dump. The entire thing was packed with high-grade weaponry, all in pristine condition and completely functional. If I were to hazard a guess as to why they were dumping them all out there, I'd say whatever military forces or private security forces are working inside of the walls just got themselves a shiny new weapons upgrade, better equipment and such. And rather than paying to have all of the old stuff shipped and sold out, it was just cheaper to dump it all. It's a gold mine. It's worth a fortune. It's garbage to the people inside of the inner walls, but to us, it's as good as gold. Pound for pound, we're looking at more money than we could ever know what to do with. But there's also a very special cherry on top of this sundae. Something that I think you in particular are going to like. While I was sifting through that pile of guns and armor, I came across something very special. A third generation XPC. That's not possible. Third generation XPC, those are state of the art. Those are brand new. There is no automated machine more advanced. There is no way they dumped one of those. Well, I can't tell you why it would be like this, but when I actually started checking it over, it appeared as if there was some damage to it. Some extreme damage. I'm unsure of whether the engine that runs it is still functional. Once again, I think it was a matter of it's simply cheaper to make a new one than to repair an old one. I don't know what broke this thing, but it's still our payday. A third generation biotech engine might be a damn good fit for that little motorcycle of yours, don't you think? Emily said, smiling, casting a sideways glance towards my passion project. Damn it. She had me hook, line, and sinker, and she knew it. There was no way I was turning this job down. With a third generation XPC, the possibility of a third generation biotech engine, and all the other gear and armament that goes onto the XPC, the circuit boards, cables, everything that's in that thing. It's top grade. If I were able to get a hold of it, and it still worked, my bike would be out of this world. It might even be good enough. Good enough to enter the Black Label races. I've wanted to for years. I just didn't have a car or a bike worth entering in. But this could be just what I needed. All right, Emily, you got yourself a deal. I'm in. So, let's take a joyride to the Red District.